The episode for today is Warrior Princess. And the entire episode is dependent upon the world's most obvious, overused, and beloved trope, the previously undiscovered doppelganger. And as the title might have indicated, we're dealing with Xena's look-like. Who is the Princess Diana? And honestly, who thought of that? Really? I mean, all things considered, that seems a little tacky. Anyway, the whole thing is that you've got Xena the warrior and Diana the princess. And actually, it makes me wonder, why on earth do we call Xena the warrior princess anyway? Warrior? Obviously, yes, I'm down with that. But who dubbed her a princess? I think the whole warrior princess thing wouldn't bother me as much if they didn't say it all the time in the show. Oh, is that Xena, the warrior princess? Why yes, it is the warrior princess. We're saved! No one goes around saying things like the warrior princess. And why is Xena okay with it? I don't know, I just kind of feel like Xena wouldn't be down with that. So it's a doppelganger setup, and we roll with it. The whole thing kickstarts when Xena tries to go meet Diana's father. Guards are throwing themselves down at her feet. Servants are bending over backwards to help her. And if any of this were happening to me, I think my reaction would pretty much be what Xena's is, which is basically, best kingdom ever. Xena totally just rolls with it and thinks it's awesome, which it kind of is, until all of a sudden somebody comes out and tries to kill her. But never fear, because Xena, like some sort of ancient Greek Boy Scout, is always prepared. And then Xena does this thing where she kind of turns herself into a human blowtorch, and it's awesome, if slightly improbable. Basically, she's drinking wine, and then she turns around and spits it out over an open flame to her attacker. And it's not like I'm an expert in incendiary things, but I'm pretty sure that wine wouldn't do that. I don't know. Obviously, I would love to be proved wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the kind of thing I'm not supposed to try at home. All becomes clear when the king finally makes his entrance. And he's pretty much dressed like the king in The Princess Bride, in that he favors long, flowy robes and a crown that's like 3 times as big as he is. I mean, the thing is comically huge. And yes, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be the point. But it is a little hard to take him seriously as a leader of men. The king brings out his daughter Diana, and we have the inevitable parent trap moment of 2 Lucy Lawlesses for the price of 1. And judging from this one scene, you'd think that the technology to have 2 people standing side by side who are in fact the same person had not actually improved since the Haley Mills Parent Trap. Because it just looks fake! I'm sorry, guys! Anyway, Lucy Lawless must have been having a fantastic time filming this episode, because Princess Diana is ridiculous. She's about as far from Xena as you can go. Everything about her is different. Her voice is really high all of a sudden, and all of her mannerisms are just girly and ridiculous. And the unintentional side effect is that it really shows what a caricature Xena is as well. Because Xena really is just comically gruff all the time, and normally it works for her. But when you suddenly have the 2 opposite ends of the spectrum of Lucy Lawless acting, you kind of realize just how far on the one side she normally plays everything. But it's all in good fun. So now Xena is going to do her best to imitate the Princess Diana, and Diana is going to go run back and find Gabrielle and have her own comic misadventures and life lessons. Because this is Xena. There are always life lessons. To really quickly sum up Diana's part of this story, her life lessons seem to be 1. Don't try to put ribbons on Xena's costume. It looks stupid and Xena doesn't like it. 2. Poor people exist. 3. And they don't like being called little people. And 4. Don't throw the chakram unless you're actually Xena. It doesn't end well. Anyway, back at the castle, Xena is pretending to be Diana and is pretty much fooling no one. She can't fool the love interest, she can't really fool anyone at the court. I mean, admittedly, most of them aren't like, oh my god, it's Xena, warrior princess! But everyone is pretty much like, WTF, mate. Which is probably not the effect Xena was going for. And they keep sticking her in all these weirdo fairy princess dresses, which are so not ancient Greek. And I know no one in this show actually actually dresses like an ancient Greek person. But when they suddenly look like they stepped out of a Disney cartoon, it's a little jarring. Whatever. So Diana has a love interest, even though he's not supposed to be a love interest, because he's supposed to be negotiating her marriage on behalf of his brother, who's a tool, which we all could have predicted. He figures out that Xena's not actually Diana whenever they get set upon by a troop of ninjas? I'm sorry, they kinda did look like ninjas. Xena has to do most of the fighting of them off herself, but it should be noted, he doesn't figure it out because Xena's actually doing most of the fighting. He doesn't notice that part. Bless. No, it's because he has a nosebleed at the end, and Xena just tells him to pinch it and hold his head back. Now, I know that they're trying to contrast as much as possible for the viewer at home, Diana and Xena, but Diana, seriously, learn some basic first aid. It does not reflect well upon your ability to govern a country someday. Anyway, blah blah blah, plot happens. They pull off some kind of fake-out switcheroo thing, and Xena rides away before the wedding while Diana gets married. So of course they try to assassinate the princess at her wedding, obviously. But this being Xena in disguise, she ends up just kicking their asses. And in one of the most improbable fight sequences seen so far this season in a show known for improbable fight sequences, Xena notches 4 arrows onto a harp string, bends back the string, which in fact, being a harp string, would not bend like that, and lets them go, and the 4 arrows pin themselves to 4 corners of the main conspirator's shirt, pinning him to the wall, which is made of rock. I mean, I gotta hand it to you, Xena. Well done. I wish I could say that there was some sort of element of mystery as to who had been the conspirator, but it was pretty obvious from the first moment he was on screen. Xena had pointed him out to the king to ask who he was, and used the phrase, "He looks like a used chariot salesman," to describe this guy. And the Xena writers would never waste that kind of ridiculous description on anyone who wasn't vitally important to the plot. I love you guys, but you are a little transparent and predictable. Sorry. While this is going on, we actually have my favorite moment in the entire episode. This will probably tell you quite a bit about me. So the disguised Xena actually sends off Diana's love interest to go fetch her. And he'll be thinking he's fetching Xena, but in fact he'll be getting Diana and bringing her back to the castle. So he gallops away on his horse, and we see a very dramatic shot, it's not actually dramatic, of him galloping away through a field. I guess they thought it looked impressive. And then we cut to a long shot where we see Xena on her horse next to Gabrielle at some sort of campsite, I don't know. And the love interest gallops up on his horse, begging Xena to come save the princess. And Xena just gallops off back in that direction with him, leaving Gabrielle just standing there and kind of calling out behind them, "Hey, don't worry about me, I'll just stay here and have fun." And I think I laughed so hard that I actually slapped my knee. It was a knee-slapping laugh. That's how much I loved a moment that underscored how ridiculous it is for Gabrielle not to have a horse when Xena rides everywhere. Oh, show. So by the end of this episode, several things have occurred. 1, Diana has married her true love, blah, 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 I'm so happy. 2, we assume the bad guy has gotten his inevitable reward. 3, Xena gets to stop wearing the floofy princess dresses. 4, everyone's happy. And 5, give Gabrielle a horse.